Hello, my name is Krittaporn Termvanich. I'm a communications manager at IHRI based in Bangkok, Thailand. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to co-facilitate this capacity building session on crafting appealing infographics with Joe Tucker today. I would like to start with the definition of infographics. We often heard infographics used together with data visualization, but are they the same? I sometimes doubt that too. So I looked up at Wikipedia and it defines infographics as visual representations of information, data, or knowledge that needs to be presented quickly and clearly. While data visualization translates data sets into a meaningful visual medium that's easy to understand. Personally, I don't think it's wrong to use one for another, although infographics can include more information that beyond data sets, like processes or steps. Especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen so many infographics designed and produced to give more information on the symptoms, precautions, preventions. That's a good example of infographics. However, today I would like to focus slightly more on data visualization because I think that's the element that we often use in our area of work. You can use data visualization in so many different ways. Many times we refer them as figures or graphs, but can they be more than that? Can graphs be made more impactful presenting data? It's true that data visualization is a form of data translation into graphics, but good data visualization needs to tell a story. If you're presenting one set of data, you're trying to persuade audience to believe what you're saying. It could be like to raise awareness. It could be to make them realize that PrEP uptake in Thailand needs a lot more work, for example. So a good one with storytelling will help viewers gain insight from the data easier and faster. But where do we start with? There are four main stages of developing infographics or data visualizations. First, we need to identify the objective of this data set. What do you want people to know? What message do you want people to receive once they see the visual? Say they only have 10 seconds to look at. So that's your story, that's your key message. And now that you have your story, you will have to identify actors. Your reading actors, your supporting actors, scenes, props, and you collect them and figure out the method to portray your story. Could be in terms of graphs, in the format of geomap, images, or a combination with others that I just mentioned. Finally, you start to create it. And most of the time we initiate the sketch to help break down our ideas, reshuffle, reorganize the ideas, and then later create the infographic. This process, I think, to me, is the most fun part, but most frustrating part as well, because you will have to keep refining it until you're satisfied. And don't forget to test it out with people who potentially could be your audience to see if they understand you, understand the message you want to send out, understand the story you're developing. And over time, you probably have to keep repeating all these steps over and over like a Groundhog Day, but that's normal. Don't give up. It takes time. There are a few tips to make your infographic impactful. And the first one and most important one here is to know your audience. In all forms of communication, you need to know who you are talking to. Are they technical? Are they medical doctors? Are they donors who probably don't have much technical knowledge, but they have power to make decisions on your funding? Or there could be general public who have zero background of what you're talking about. So you have to, make more effort in communicating with them. Even age, it's important as well to know what age of the audience we are talking about. Adolescents might like more vibrant colors, while the older people prefer sleek and clean look because more comfortable to their eyes. And knowing this will help the graphics communicate with them more efficiently and appealingly. A good data visualization always consider balance. I have here three types of balance in terms of design. The first one is symmetrical. You can see the example on the right hand side. Symmetrical is when each side of the visual is the same as the other. So you can see A and E is the same. Asymmetrical is when both sides are different but still have similar visual weight. On the left and the right hand side, it doesn't shift into one side in particular. And radial is when elements are placed around a central object that acts as an anchor. So you have to figure out which type of balance that works the best for your data visualization and then apply that. If your presentation or publication that you're working on include more than one data visualization, please make sure that they are all in a unified theme, which means every part of your design is consistent and follows a standard. If your organization provides you with a corporate theme, then stick with it. Otherwise, make sure you use same font. The color representation should be consistent. For example, if you assign orange for transgender women data in figure 1, then you should continue to use orange for other figures with transgender women data set in. And another thing is if you use 2-dimension graphs, don't jump to 3-dimension graphs. Don't mix it together. Stay with one style so it doesn't look messy. Colors play such important roles in graphic, and because they're so important, so limit how many different colors you use. By different, I mean different color levels, not color shades. If your data is quite extensive, you might consider using different shades instead of entire different color. But identifying color scheme for your graphic first will help your design to be more appealing, and then throughout the process it will be easier as well. If you are one of those people who do not know or see right away what colors should go with what, it is okay. You're not the only person. Just Google search image of a color combination. Pick the color combination that you like the best, and then insert it on PowerPoint presentation. Use eyedropper to pick the color, and it will be in your palette. And repeat that for other colors as well. And I would say that if it's a combination of 5 colors, I would suggest about 2 warm colors max, 3 cool colors, including lighter shades of gray. Don't be afraid to use gray. Gray is not always sad. It helps to tone down the overwhelming combination of your colors. When warm colors can be used to highlight your messages like red or orange. And lastly, for colors, be sensitive. Be sensitive about colors. In different cultures, colors can symbolize things differently. In Thailand, for example, purple is usually associated with gay people. So that can be perceived as stigma, right? And it might seem insensitive to some group of people. So, you should avoid that and be neutral. There are hundreds of other colors in the world you can pick, so choose a neutral, cool ones. Finally, do not forget about your message. What do you want people to remember the most? Emphasize that. It's usually suggested that your message or what you want to highlight should be on the top left of the image or of the visual, because that's where people look at first. And don't be shy of using strong colors or bold font to highlight the key messages, so it pops up from the rest of supporting data. I have a very good example here from UNH, visualizing numbers of people living with HIV around the world. As you can see, they only use red and black on white space, and it still look very powerful. The messages that they want to highlight are clearly illustrated. 38 million people are living with HIV around the world. Can't be any clearer. It's still simple but elegant, and less is more. Remember that. Another example here is a key population-led health services, or KPLHS model, or I usually call it just a key model. This is what I developed 3 years ago, just from a sketch that unfortunately I didn't keep. The objective of this figure is to show the services that key population-led providers can provide under the model along the HIV cascade. And the key message here is that this model delivered by the key population will be the key to end AIDS in Thailand. So it's, designed around the word key. It was successfully presented in many international AIDS conferences in the past 3 years, was adapted with or without my knowledge, but that's fine. It's good use. And this is a sketch, which can be effective method to communicate with your graphic designer to visualize. The sketches from my supervisors asking me to visualize how the community think tank should how it works and what's comprised of, the roles and stakeholder involved. So you can see it from the sketch, it looks more table-like, but the final design actually more like a radio design that I said earlier. It looks totally different because after rounds of communications, consultation with the team, this radio design suits the concept better. So it does not necessarily have to look like the original idea. Like I said, you just keep refining it until you get what you want, what your team agrees upon. And you probably wonder after all this that I'm not a graphic designer. I don't have a graphic designer around or can afford one. How can I develop an impactful infographic? Well, in the subgroup session, I will show you a shortcut of how to do a basic one on PowerPoint presentation. And hopefully that after that, you can apply it to your actual work. So thank you very much for your time.